Good morning. Ed Bixby here from the Global Green Burial Alliance, and this is Spotlight Now. I'm here today with Carin Bonifacino. Now, I don't want to botch this. Bonifacino? Go ahead.
Bonifacino, yep.
Green Burial, Pennsylvania. Carin has been an advocate of green burial since the early 2000s and is the president of the Friends of Green Burial, Pennsylvania, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to educating the public about green burial options and increasing access to them in Pennsylvania and the Mid-Atlantic region. Carin spent the first half of her life working in horticulture and small-scale farming, and after 2 significant deaths in her family, decided to switch careers at midlife. After attending One Spirit Interfaith Seminary in New York, Carin became an ordained minister in 2019 and now officiates funerals and memorial services for people from all walks of life. She is also an end-of-life doula and a death educator who teaches workshops and classes on a variety of topics related to the end of death. So welcome, Carin.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's wonderful to have you. So I think that the viewers would probably be interested to know, a little bit about the Friends of Green Burial, Pennsylvania, and what inspired the creation of this organization.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Friends of Green Burial, PA or Pennsylvania came about because after many years of just talking to folks about natural burial and green burial, it became really evident that most people were unaware that it was legal in not just Pennsylvania, but in all states, as we know, and available. Those two things, legal and available. And so it really just became clear to me and my co-founder, Elaine Brooks, that the work that really needed to be done was the education piece. And that if we were going to advance this movement, people needed to know that it's legal and available. So we started it in 2021, and at present, we have given, I have lost count of how many presentations at libraries, churches, funeral homes, conferences. We really get out there. People reach out to us and ask us to give presentations. We have booths at farmers markets and festivals. And so we are going to where the people are and letting them know that it is, as I said, legal and available. The other piece that has been really gratifying is that people will reach out to our organization. They'll find our website, shoot me an email. They just want to have a one-on-one conversation about where it's available, how it works. And cemeteries themselves will often reach out to me. So I've been able to just offer information and consultation with existing cemeteries who want to create hybrids, and have been able to assist that process in a couple of cases, which has to do with that access piece. And I know so many of us in the movement want to increase access to this for everyone. So we try to do that as well.
That's wonderful. Yeah, as you said, education and awareness is key. So
Huge.
it's really great that, Green Burial, Pennsylvania is able to do this for their community. I mean, I was going to ask you about your community outreach, and you really kind of covered that. But
Yeah.
just to touch on it, so if someone watching this, let's say they are a cemetery, or they're just a consumer, they just need to reach out to your organization if they'd like to see about scheduling an event or just having questions answered. Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So our website is greenburialpa.org. The contact list on that website comes directly to me. So folks can send an email through our website. If the location that's requesting a presentation is a little more than an hour away, often we'll set that up as a Zoom presentation. Always happy to do a virtual presentation. If it's, Philadelphia area or closer, we will travel to that location. So yeah, cemeteries, organizations, churches, anyone is welcome to reach out. We love to talk to people and spread the word. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you made a very good point. In the world that we live in today, the beauty of technology, sometimes it's a double-edged sword, but the beauty of
Right.
technology gives us the ability, to serve others. And Pennsylvania is a very large state. So for consumers and providers watching this, they don't understand. It may not look
Yes.
large, but it is. It's a big state. So I understand.
Yeah, it's a big state. We have 67 counties. And, one of the things that I often say to folks is I think right now we've got right around maybe 18 cemeteries in the state that are allowing natural burial. 17 of the 18 are hybrids, I believe. But when you have a state that's 67 counties, we've got a long way to go to see that everyone has access to this. So yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it.
Absolutely. Yeah, from
Yeah,
someone who hasn't been to Pennsylvania, they may think they can jump in the car and drive from Philly to Pittsburgh quickly, but that's an all-day event if you're
it
lucky.
sure is. Yes, yes.
So that would bring me to, so anyone watching this, they may want to know, as far as technical assistance and helping provide eco-friendly funeral service guidance. So let me ask it this way, I suppose. So if someone called you from Harrisburg and
Yeah.
they wanted to do something with like maybe a home funeral, you're able to guide them through that process, correct?
So I am in my personal life, I am also a home funeral guide. Yes, also trained as an end of life doula. And I work, my full-time employment is at a funeral home in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. So I've got all kinds of tendrils in death care. But in terms of home funerals, absolutely. I am able to consult and support folks. In any part of the state. Our funeral home is also certified by the Green Burial Council. So we also assist families here at the funeral home from time to time. So yeah, I can absolutely offer insight and information and education on home funerals as well. Sure.
That's great. Yeah, I'm sure, hopefully we're going to reach some people who are interested in reaching out and supporting Green Burial Pennsylvania because it's
Yeah.
important work. And I do appreciate the fact that you've mentioned that, you do work in the funeral industry because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people need to understand that, we've got a lot of great people already in the funeral business, let's say, who are embracing the concept. And of course you are championing it, but it's a
Yeah.
wonderful thing. And it's something that people are asking for. And that would lead me to my next question. So,
Sure.
since the beginning of your advocacy, and I'm sure I know the answer to this, but it would be good to hear from you. Have you, in your opinion, seen a greater increase in access and interest in the eco-friendly funeral option? And maybe you could talk about this from the funeral home perspective and the advocacy perspective.
I would say 100%. I have seen the growth in interest and demand. I I personally found out about green burial or natural burial probably early 2000s, 2003, 2004. And so in the last 10 years, tremendous growth in interest. And here's what I can say from the funeral home side. Our funeral director here, Matthew Grieco, when he is doing pre-planning with families, especially the ones that are looking to pre-plan cremation, because I think a lot of us know that it's primarily the cremation consumer that will pivot to natural burial, not necessarily the burial consumer who is already okay with vault, headstone, monument, all of that. It's more the cremation consumer. He will ask families or couples who come in to pre-plan for themselves if they're interested in cremation. He will say, by the way, there's this other option. And probably 50% of the time, the cremation pre-planner will say, oh, really? Tell me more. And we have a list in our area of people who are waiting for something to launch in Chester County so that we can reach back out to them to say, hey, we've got an option for you here. So there's tremendous, even if they haven't heard of it, they're interested. They want to know more. Tell me more. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. So absolutely, there's a big increase in interest and awareness for sure.
That was a great answer, Carin. And I love the fact that you brought in the fact that, these are cremation converts. And not only is that good for the environment, but that's good for the provider, to have a whole funeral, let's say, a whole body funeral, opposed to a direct cremation.
Yes.
And it's great for the families because you're not losing the memorialization or the celebration sometimes that is lost. So,
Correct.
I want to add to what you said to say that, I tell people all the time, and I tell providers this, and any providers listening, listen to us really well. 90% of the consumers who come to me nationwide are cremation converts. People
Yes.
who say, I really didn't want to be cremated, and I heard about what you're doing.
Yes.
A very, very good point, and a big opportunity for everyone, to help change the world in many ways. So that was great. I appreciate you enlightening, and I know you probably didn't, because that's your experience, meaning you didn't say that purposefully. That's what you guys are experiencing it. So that's great.
It is absolutely our experience. And I mean, Ed, I know you already know this. Consumers are surprised when they find out that cremation is not green. They're stunned. It's not. We own our own crematory, so we can say to them, yeah, like we cringe when we push that button to start the retort. So that educating them that cremation is not green, that there is this third option, they're interested, they want to know more, they're looking for it once they find out that it's available. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes. And hey, this is a shout out to anyone, you said in Chester County?
Yes.
Yeah, providers, cemetery providers, listen to this. Open up your doors to the option. It's, because the customers are waiting.
Correct.
So let me ask you, this is the fun part of the interview. I always like to get people's visions. So what would you think your ideal vision for green burial in Pennsylvania and the United States may be on a whole in the future? What would you like to see?
Oh gosh, that is a fun thing to dream about. I mean, look, I would love for every community to have a cemetery that is nearby that's offering this. That would be my vision, that in the state of Pennsylvania that has 67 counties, that every county would have 3, 4, 5 options available. That no one would have to drive more than 20 or 30 minutes to get to a natural burial ground. I would love for burial to become synonymous with nature. That this model of a nature preserve type place that also allows burials would become the norm. That we could really get away from, the wasting of tremendous amounts of resources and money for something that in reality can be so simple and so beautiful and so personal. Yeah, that's the vision. I know you share it, that we would love to just see this in every community, and for it to be just a third option that everyone is aware of, and that they can make their decisions based on that. Yeah, lots and lots of
Absolutely.
access.
That's a lovely vision, and I know it's one that will come true, because
I agree.
as the industry has changed and the consumer has become a little more cognizant and a little more willing to speak about death and dying, they're the ones making the decisions. So I think that's a great vision, and I know it will come true for you, Carin. And we want to thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
You've really brought to light some important points that I think everyone should listen to. And the audience can learn more about Carin and the Friends of Green Burial Pennsylvania by visiting greenburialpa.org. So
Perfect.
thanks, Carin.
You're welcome. Thank you.